Good evening. Welcome to this evening's webinar. My name is Elliot. Here I go again. I'm part of the technical support team here at Race Result Headquarters. Alongside me, I think some of you will have already engaged with him on the chat, is Ugo. There he is. So he'll be answering any questions you might have throughout tonight's stream. Just send them over on the chat and he'll try and answer as many as possible. If he can't answer them there, then he will forward the questions on to me and I will try and answer them on the video. Or we may not be able to answer all your questions. You can always email us at support@raceresult.com and we will get back to you there. So this evening's webinar is going to be looking at raw data mode again. So we've covered raw data mode in our first webinar a number of weeks back now. So today in particular, we're going to be looking at lap races and some of the specific rules which are built in to Race Result 11 to handle lap races. Now, if you're not using raw data mode yet, this may be slightly above your head, so you can head back to our YouTube page and check out the raw data mode, the basics webinar, and watch that one, and then you may want to move on here so you get a better understanding of how raw data mode is working and how it will help you with your timing. So when we say a lap race, there are two types of lap races we mean, and the first one is standard simple 10K, for example, that maybe has 2 or 4 laps of a 5 or 2.5K loop. In this kind of race, you know how many laps everyone's going to do, and it's a fixed distance. The second type of race is what we call a variable lap race. So this is where you don't necessarily know how many laps people are going to do. Maybe it's a 24-hour race where they do as many laps as possible, or a cycling criterium as well. So we're going to be looking at the templates today in the Race Result web server offline. Both of these are set up to handle lap races with the rules that are already there. So we'll start by looking at the first example where we know how many laps people are going to be doing. For that one, I'm just going to use the standard event template. You can see it says set number of laps. If I can spell as well this evening, standard event, change it to Germany. And open that one up. So here's our standard event set up. And have a look, we've got, as usual, we've got our 2 contests set up. And now we covered in the first webinar the basics of raw data mode. And one of the most important settings we talked about was the minimum lap time. And this also now, of course, brings in the number of laps. So let's take, for example, today we're going to be doing a 10K, which is made up of 4 laps. We'll change the number of laps to 4. And we can change the minimum lap time to whatever's necessary. I'll say 4 minutes. So each lap must be at least 4 minutes with our raw data rules. And we'll get to those in a sec. As you can see, we're basing this on just a single start and finish line. I could rename this start, finish, and lap, but I will keep it at start and finish for now. And we will subtract T0 straight away in our time point setup as well to make things easy. In our results, we start out, and as you see at the moment, there aren't any settings for our laps. But the one slight difference now we've set 4 laps is our finish rule now says read after end of last lap. So what this does is pretty much exactly as it says. At the end of lap 4, that read will then go to their finish for the finish calculation. Now, of course, in most races, you want to actually know how fast each lap was and see how people are doing throughout the race. And that's where the lap race rules come in. So there's 2 types of rules that we need to look at here. And we're going to keep our start and finish time points selected. And when we go to calculation, you'll now see that there's a whole host of other rules that are available to us down the bottom here. So we generally call it after lap X, so after lap 1 in this case. And that one is read 1 after T0 plus minimum lap time. So that is the end or the time at the end of lap 1. And if I then go to after lap 2 and use read 2, this will be the time at the end of lap 2. So it's the total accumulated race time from T0 to the end of lap 2. And so on and so forth, up to as many as you require. So that's our read X. Now, of course, this doesn't tell us how fast each individual lap was. Technically, yes, after lap 1 is going to be the same. But in here, we will just type our lap 1 And we've got a few more rules here. So for lap 1, we've actually got 3 options. So the first one, lap 1, is if you're subtracting T0 in your time point setup, you can select this one. If you're not subtracting T0 and you want to know how fast lap 1 was, then select lap 1 minus T0, and that will give you the lap time. And there's also an option for net time. So if you've got a lot of runners or riders starting together and you want to give them a net lap time, you can select that there. I'm going to go ahead and select just lap 1, and then the same for laps 2, 3, and 4. And that's as simple as it can be. I have my after laps and I have my lap times. So I'm going to go quickly import some dummy participants that I've already prepared. Those of you who have been with us before will probably be familiar with the names that are about to come up on the screen. Ugo might be able to guess them. And let's punch a chip file in. So just to show you they are there, let's go to our list view. We've got good old duck family with us today, all 5 of them. They're all in contest 1 today, just for simplicity's sake as well. So let's head over to our time module. And as you can see, I'm using my trusty USB time box. And in our chip time window, we can see again all the critical information for timing our race. We have the number of laps for each contest. We have the minimum lap time, the start and finish time limits. So I will first connect my USB time box. It's always a good start. We'll set our T0. And we've got 4 reads came in there. I've got a pretty low loop power. So let's go have a quick look at one of our participants. So there we have their start time and their time raw data. And because I don't want to have to wait 4 minutes to show you, I'm going to set my minimum lap time to just 15 seconds. Remembering to do it before, I didn't do that when I was testing earlier. So let's give that another scan. And now you can see we're populating our after lap and lap 1. And I'll just scan again quickly. I'll wait 15 seconds first. There we go. And there's our after lap 2 and our lap 2 time. So straight away, these results will be populated. You don't have to do any extra setup. There's your after laps and each individual lap time. I mentioned we have the option for our lap 1 to use net time. So let's have a quick look at that. So yeah, there we go. There's our start difference after lap, and you can see the lap 1 is now the lap 1 net time. So that's how we can simply do a race where we have a set number of laps. Now in your output list, it's important to note that by default, these templates will not show you individual lap times. Apparently I haven't set these people up properly, because they've not finished. Thought I did an extra one. There we go. There's all 4 laps. So we won't have our lap times by default. So if you want to add these in, again, all you'll have to do in our simple output list is just go lap 1, lap 2, lap 3, lap 4. I won't give them headers, and there's all of our individual lap times. And we've got our race with a set number of laps. So I'll close that one down for a minute and move on to the second type of race, which, as I talked about, is where you don't know how many laps somebody's going to be doing. So as I talked about, the most common example of this is maybe a 24 or 6 or 12 hour race, where the aim is to do as many laps as possible in the given time. So we have a template set up for that called lap race with variable number of laps. Variable laps, Germany, and the maximum lap number setting here. So the maximum lap number you define here, you should ideally make higher than is physically or possible to achieve in your event. Because as you'll see when we go in to create this event now, the software will actually automatically create the required results for us up to the maximum number you've defined there. So if your participants do end up going beyond that, you'll then have to manually start typing in results. So always try and work out what the maximum number they could physically do, maybe look at previous year's results or similar races to work out what the maximum is. So again, you can just quickly see that this contest setup is exactly the same, but this time number of laps is already set for us, and minimum lap time, I'll keep it at 1 minute today. Same time point setup to keep it nice and simple, and our results. Now, of course, there's a few more rules that we can use, and some have already been used. I didn't look at these in the first demo because these are more suited to this type of lap race. So the first one, again, you can see our finish result here has changed to after last lap. So we talked about how we had after lap X previously. So this looks at the last read X essentially. So the time at the end of the last lap they completed, because normally these results are calculated on the number of laps and then the time they did those in. So the time is still important. We have some preset rules here for min lap, so that's the fastest lap. Maximum lap is the slowest lap. Average lap is average. And we also have the last lap time, so we know what their last lap was, and the lap count. So these are already in here for you. And you can see that covers everything in here. The only one not covered, sorry, is lap sum. So this will take the sum of your lap times that are defined here. Usually the same, but there are some cases which more advanced setups where that may be required. Now, we talked about obviously these races being ranked on number of laps and then time. So in our rankings, that's already set up for us. We're sorting by decimal times 6 from largest to smallest, and then decimal time 1. So if I just double check to show you, decimal times 6 is our number of laps, so from largest to smallest, and then decimal time is our finish time here, T1. So let's go ahead and punch some participants in and see what we can do with this one. Yep. And my chip file. So that's exactly the same participants in there, all in contest number 1. I'll go back to our trusty timing module over here. And again, same information as always, nice and simple. Everything you need to see is right here in front of you. So let's connect to the USB time box. Let's start that and give these chips a quick scan. There they are. And just to double check they've started, to make sure I'm not being a dummy, yep, there we go. So lap 0, which is the start in this case, has a time. So again, I don't particularly want to be waiting a minute for each one, so I'm just going to set that to 5 seconds. And in the meantime, to make it easier for me, I'm just going to put my power up there so I don't miss any. Yep, there we go. So let's start putting some laps in, just give them a scan. And what I'll do is I'll quickly open up our present results to show you one of the output lists which is already set up for you. So we have a live leaderboard for this type of race because in these races it's pretty important to know kind of where everyone is and how they're doing. But that doesn't want to load for me today. I'm probably skipping a step somewhere. What have I missed? What have I missed, Hugo?
I don't know. Minimum lap time?
I know what I've missed. They've not got any other laps yet. Let's go set my minimum lap time. It's not gone through there correctly. There we go. my minimum lap time hadn't quite updated properly, so we'll double check that one later on. And if I now look at my leaderboard, here we go. So we've got a leaderboard with how many laps they've done, the total time to that point, and the time behind already set for you. So if I take chips and keep scanning, so there they've got 2 laps completed, and hopefully that's been 5 seconds. So there we've got 3 laps for everyone. So let's go turn that power down so I can actually scan less than 5 at a time. And now you'll see that for those who haven't completed the same number of laps, we're showing -2 laps and -1 lap for those who aren't on the same laps. If we go and look at the outputs, so we have our overall results, which is already set up pretty similar. You have laps and you have how far behind they are. We have the lap result list, so this shows you a bit more detail about individual participants' results, the minute fastest lap, slowest lap, average, and again the time behind. There's a default details list set up, so on your online results, if you publish through myraceresult.com, you can use the details list to show additional data without putting it all on that main results page. So that's already set up for each lap. That actually uses the record multiplier, so it will only show how many laps that individual participant has done. And everything else is already set up for you. So if you want to then set a finish time limit, so say this is a 6-hour race, I would take my start time here and I would just add the 6 hours required. So 26, 14, 32. And so then I wouldn't get any reads after that. If I now set that to 2017, so only 2.5 minutes, you'll see that my clock has stopped and the participants' results have updated. And these are now no longer considered in use because they are after the cutoff for this race. Now, in some 24-hour races or multi-lap races, and also criterium races where you can use the same sort of principles, you're allowed to complete the last lap you're on. So in our time point setup, we can allow one last detection after the finish time limit. So now, if I go back and check my time raw data, so although it's still grayed out, I have an after lap 4 and I have lap 4 results for this participant. So if you're in a criterium now, I will say we're going to do a specific webinar looking at cycling setups because there are some more advanced requirements for these. But you can use this same principle, and then when the everyone's on their last lap on the bell lap, or if people are finishing on different lap counts, just before the first finisher comes through the line, set your finish time limit through your time module and allow one chip after the finish time limit, and you'll have exactly the same effect, and they will finish then on that lap. So that's lap races, and we've covered that a little bit quicker than normal. Are there any questions or anything in particular I'd like to cover?
Nope.
Nope. So it's a slightly quicker one today, but something that as you're learning raw data mode, we think is particularly important. We do get quite a few questions about how to handle this properly. Hopefully you found this useful, and we look forward to speaking to you again in a few weeks' time. And I think Ugo's actually going to be taking the lead on the next one, so you'll get to talk to him. So as always, thank you for tuning in. Send us your questions if you have any to support@raceresult.com, and see you next time.